Hello, I'm Robert Green. I'm the Assistant Dean for the Bagley College of Engineering at Mississippi State University. I want to welcome you to this pre-orientation talk where we'll go over some information to get you ready for the upcoming orientation session. First, we consider orientation to be very important for new students. There's a lot of information that's distributed there. It's much more than just registering for courses. One of the things you'll do is you'll have another academic meeting where we'll go over some of the policies and procedures and expectations from an academic standpoint in the college. You'll also have some meetings with some current students, find out how they navigate the system here. You'll learn more about the many services we have to help students be successful at the university. There's a session on money matters to help students with financial aid and loans and how to pay for college and how to manage money while you're in college. There'll be a session given by the registrar on our registration system, our banner system that students use for registering for courses and tracking their academic information. And then there will be course registration where you'll actually meet with your advisor in your individual department, your major, and register for courses. And of course, you need to register for orientation. So if you have not done so, I encourage you to go to admissions.msstate.edu/enrollment. Make sure you register for the upcoming orientation session. We do offer 13 majors in the College of Engineering here. We have aerospace engineering, which has concentrations in both aeronautics and astronautics. We have biological engineering and biomedical engineering. We also have chemical engineering that offers 3 concentrations, those being practice for those who want to go out into the chemical engineering industry and just practice as a chemical engineer. Research and development for those who are interested in getting into R&D aspects of chemical engineering. And then for those, maybe you can think about medical school, have biomolecular engineering, which has some interesting things as well. We also have petroleum engineering, which is housed in our Dave C. Swamp School of Chemical Engineering. Civil engineering is available as a major, and then if you would like, you can also specialize in environmental engineering, which is a concentration within that major. We offer both computer science and computer engineering. These are in different departments, so make sure you are talking to the right advisor when it comes time for those courses. We also have a cybersecurity major that is also offered by our computer science and engineering department. We also have electrical engineering, which goes along with computer engineering. That's in our electrical and computer engineering department. We offer a degree in industrial and systems engineering, a degree in mechanical engineering, and then our computer science and engineering department also offers a degree in software engineering. For some students who come in and have not been able to really pick an individual major, we do offer classifications, not really a major, but it's a classification of undeclared engineering. Those are students who have been admitted to the College of Engineering but have not yet decided on a particular discipline. I encourage you, if you're leaning towards a specific discipline, to go ahead and pursue that. We do offer an introduction to engineering for undeclared engineering majors, but that is only offered in the fall semester. So if you're coming in the spring semester, you will not have an opportunity to take that course. But if you're coming in the fall semester, you would. We offer several minors, and we will go over much more of this at orientation. I mention it here mainly for course registration. You'll see that it requires 18 hours, and 6 hours of those are foreign languages. Foreign language also counts as humanities towards our general education requirements. So as you're going through pre-registration with your advisor and going through orientation where you then will actually register for courses, if this is a minor you think you might be interested in and you have an interest in foreign language, go ahead and sign up for foreign languages or humanities courses, and that way you'll get credit both towards the minor and towards your humanities credit. And even if you're not sure this is what you want to do, it's probably still a good thing to do, because at least you're still satisfying your humanities requirement even if you choose not to pursue the Global Engineering Leadership minor. We'll talk more about this in our academic meeting at orientation. A couple of things I'd like for you to do early in the semester, preferably before you get here, but certainly sometime soon. One is to change your mindset. College is very different from high school, very different from community college, and you need to sort of change how you think about it and how you approach learning, how you approach school. And one of these books that I think really helps is What the Best College Students Do by Ken Bain. It was recommended to me by a colleague in another college some years ago. I read it, found it very interesting, and wish I'd been able to read it before I started college. It's not a very long book, but certainly one that I would like for you to look into reading. I think it will help you. Another book is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This was actually the Maroon Edition book for 2020-2021 academic year. But it's a good book, and so even if you're not coming in that academic year, it's a good book to read. I think it'll help you do well, learn how to manage your time, manage yourself while you're in college. Do you have a computer? That we do require all of our engineering students to have a laptop computer. We've been doing this for probably some 20 years. Believe it or not, we're actually one of the first engineering colleges to require computers. We weren't the first, but we were one of the first. We do not specify a particular model, brand, or type of computer. We do, however, have minimum specifications, and you can read what those are at our website at bagley.mstate.edu/computer. These change every year. Well, we review them every year. They may not change every year, but we review them every year and update them. So if you are a freshman coming in, you meet the current requirements. If you are a transfer student coming in, we simply ask that you try to meet those requirements that were in place had you come here as a freshman. So in other words, when you started at the community college, those are what we're expecting of you. If you do choose to use a Mac, please pay special attention to the requirements that we have there. We also require webcams, thanks to COVID-19 and having to transition there to online learning for a semester. And just in case we have to do that again, we are requiring that all students have the webcam so they can continue with learning should we need to do that. Again, if you pay attention to these minimum specifications, it's likely you may have a computer that already meets those requirements. If you are a freshman coming in, I'd say most likely any laptop that you have will work, at least for your first year, maybe your second. So if you have one, I'd encourage you to give it a try. Use it as long as you can. You may need to buy another one later, but this may allow you to postpone buying it right away. If you are a transfer student, depending on where you come into the program, you may need a computer depending on the software that you're going to have to run. So that might be something to talk to your advisor about during orientation or even during pre-registration, just to get an idea whether or not you're going to need to get an updated computer before you get here. We do consider email by university policy to be the official means of communication with students. And as a Mississippi State student, you have a Mississippi State email. So I need you to prepare that email and check it regularly. And the way you do that is you go to your My State page, look over on the left for Microsoft 365, and then look for the Outlook icon. If you click on that, you have just gotten to your email on the web. You can also set up your devices, your laptop, your desktop if you're using it at home, your phone, an iPad, whatever you're using, to check email on that as well. And here's the address for a knowledge base article to help you do that. Your advisor is most likely going to contact you at this email address. They may also use your personal email address that you gave when you registered. But once school starts and once we really start working with you, we're going to transition to only your Mississippi State email. That's for privacy concerns, making sure we know who you are. You are the one we're working with, because we are dealing with sometimes some confidential, at least some personal information. And we want to make sure we're working with the right person when we get that. So once you get this set up, I would encourage you to do all of your communication with us through your MS State email address, and also check it regularly, because that's how we're going to be reaching out to you. We will also need copies, official copies of any of your college transcripts if you have dual enrollment credit, if you're a community college or another 4-year college transfer student. Those will need to be sent directly to Mississippi State University. We need to do that. Now, for pre-registration, we can work with unofficial copies. So if you're currently enrolled in classes, or if you've just recently completed a semester or a term and those grades have not been posted on your transcript, we can work with that now in terms of pre-registering you for courses. But we will need to get those official scores, that official transcript sent to us as soon as possible, preferably before the semester starts. Otherwise, you may be taken out of some of those courses for not having the prerequisites. We'll also need official AP scores if you have any AP credit or IB credit from high school. Although that may show on your high school transcript, we cannot award that credit based on your high school transcript. We have to have the official AP or IB scores. Now, what we're going to work with you between now and orientation is course pre-registration. So your advisor is going to work with you and try to get you pre-registered for some courses. When you come to orientation, we can review it, we can update it, we can make any changes that you might need to do. But right now, we're going to focus on getting you pre-registered. You all do have an advisor based on your major, and they should be reaching out to you. And here are the list of the names and the advisor email addresses. So if you are in aerospace engineering, your advisor is going to be Ms. Mashonda Bush, and there's her email address. If you're in biological engineering or biomedical engineering, your advisor will be Dr. Philip Toe. If you're in civil engineering, your advisor is Dr. Seamus Franey. If you are going to major in chemical engineering or petroleum engineering, your advisor will be Dr. Julie Jessup. For those majoring in computer science, not computer engineering, but computer science, software engineering, or cybersecurity, your advisor is going to be Mr. Chase Barr. For those in electrical engineering or computer engineering, your advisor is Ms. Kylie Crossland. Industrial and systems engineering will be advised by Dr. Brian Smith. Mechanical engineering students will be advised by Ms. Crystal Boyd. And then I will advise those students who are engineering undeclared. But as I said earlier, the preference is, if you are engineering undeclared and leaning towards a specific major, to go ahead and change that major. You can contact admissions and they can change your major to one of these specific disciplines, engineering disciplines, that usually serves students best to do that. I will show these later at the end, or if you need to write these down, you can pause the video now and write down the name and email address of the advisor for your specific major. So what we're going to do is work with you. Your advisors are going to work with you in pre-registering you for some classes at least, maybe all of them, but at least for some. Most likely will contact you by email. They will certainly use your Mississippi State email address. They may also try to use your prospective student email, your personal email address, to establish that initial contact, but will very quickly want to transition to the Mississippi State email address. During this time, we sort of have a trust but verify later policy. So if you have any advanced placement or dual enrollment credit, even if we don't have those official results, those official scores or transcripts now, we're going to trust you, and we will go ahead and act as if you do have that credit. We will need to verify that, of course, to make sure you don't get removed from those classes for not meeting prerequisites. The target is 16 hours per semester, maybe a little more. May some cases have to be a little less. We don't like that, but if you average 16 hours per semester, that's what you need to be doing to graduate in 4 years. One course that we will certainly make sure you are put in is an appropriate math course. Now, the math department has very rigorous, very strict requirements on prerequisites for those courses. The first course that applies to all engineering majors is Calculus 1. That requires an ACT math subscore of 26 or higher. If you have a 24 or a 25, you will be placed in trigonometry. If you have a 19 to a 23, you'll be placed in college algebra. And then basically you'd go from college algebra to trigonometry to calculus. Exceptions for these would include AP scores of 3 or higher on the calculus exam. So make sure your advisor knows about that. We also offer a math placement test, but this placement test has to be taken on campus. So it's something you can do during orientation, or if you get here early or have some time between orientation and when classes start, you can go ahead and use that. But for now, we will work with your ACT math score. Here's the address there at the bottom, math.mstate.edu/undergrad/placement. Gives you information on that placement test for math. It's worth taking if you think you can improve what math course you're going to be placed in. That's great. Of course, this will only place you into Calculus 1, so it does not, if you want to start in Calculus 2, for example, this does not do that. This will either place you in college algebra, trigonometry, or Calculus 1. We'll also place you in an appropriate English composition course. If you have a 32 or higher and you're in the Honors College, and this is your ACT English subscore, we will do our best to place you in English 1113H, which is Honors English Composition 2. Of course, seats are limited in that. It's an honors course. They try to keep the section small. This is part of our what we call our 2-for-1 special. If you earn a C or better in this course, in Honors English Composition 2, you will also be given an S satisfactory credit for English Composition 1. So you can't test out of English Composition 1, but if your scores place you in one of these, in Honors English Composition 2, you can get credit for English Composition 1. Of course, if you make less than a C, you have to go back and take English Comp 1 and take English Comp 2 again. If your English ACT subscore is greater than a 28, we will do our best to place you in English 1173, which is Accelerated English Composition 2. And it has the same thing. If you make a C or better in that course, you will earn S credit for English Composition 1. If you have a 17 up to 28, we'll have you in English Composition 1, less than or equal to a 16, you'll get placed in Basic English. So 17 to a 28, you'd basically then take English Composition 1, then take English Composition 2 following that. All engineering students take at least one semester of chemistry. That's CH 1213 General Chemistry, as well as Chemistry Lab, which is CH 1211. Chemistry has a Math ACT subscore of 24 or higher, or a grade of C or better in college algebra. So your advisor will work on getting you into an appropriate chemistry course and chemistry lab. We also have to complete some general education requirements. Many of the general education requirements are taken care of just by the courses that are required for engineering, and you don't have a whole lot of choice in those. For example, we require math, but we also require calculus in engineering, so you have to take the calculus, but that does satisfy your math general education requirements. But you do have some choices here. We require 6 hours, 2 courses of social or behavioral science courses. We require 6 hours of humanities. We require 3 hours of fine arts. Those are more or less electives. We do know what most engineering students end up taking. You certainly will not take all of these your first semester. You can sort of spread them out as needed. But your advisor will work with you if you have a particular one you want to be enrolled in, if there's seats available, if it's being offered that semester. They will work to get you enrolled in that course. And if not, they'll most likely just enroll you in what most engineering students prefer. We've done this a long time. We sort of see the trends of what most engineering students prefer to take. So if we need to, that's what we'll put you in, and we can always change that later. However, those courses, those social behavioral sciences, those humanities and fine arts, they must come from approved courses in our catalog. So it can't just be, for example, social science. It cannot just be any social science. It can't be any sociology course. It has to be one of the specific ones listed. We've talked here about math before. Calculus is that first math course. We'll put you in an appropriate one. And I will tell you, I said we've been doing this for a long time. The math department is firm. It is based on your ACT scores or based on the placement test, regardless of your high school grades. So if you've had Calculus 1 and made an A in high school, but you have less than a 26, you're not going to be put into Calculus 1 unless you take the placement test and get put in there. So once again, here are the advisor contacts. I would encourage you to give them a little while to reach out to you, and also keep in mind that depending on when this is, the university may be closed for some holidays here and there. Advisors may be out of the office for a little while. But if they've not contacted you before too long, feel free to reach out to them. Let them know who you are. Give them your net ID, your MS State email address, perhaps your 9-digit ID. Introduce yourself to them and sort of tell them you're trying to get pre-registered for courses. And then, of course, when you come to the orientation session, you'll be able to meet with your advisors, sit down with them, have some face-to-face conversations with them, make some adjustments, make some revisions to your schedule, and they'll also be able to answer any more questions that you have. But for now, we are looking forward to having you on campus, joining us here in the Bagley College of Engineering, and I look forward to seeing you at orientation.